The other type of harassment is a hostile work environment. This normally does not result in a tangible employment action, as we just discussed, but it may unreasonably interfere with an employee's work performance or create an intimidating, hostile, or offensive work environment. For example, the racial jokes being told in the workplace, or placing cartoon jokes regarding religions are forms of workplace harassment. Negative comments regarding an employee's age when referring to workers 40 and over, derogatory or intimidating references to an employee's mental or physical impairment are also examples of potential workplace harassment. In a hostile work environment harassment situation, anyone can commit this type of harassment: a supervisor, a coworker, or a non-employee. When assessing a hostile work environment, the harassment does not have to have a tangible effect on the victim's job. In other words, it doesn't have to be a situation where an employee was terminated or demoted. Nor does a hostile work environment have to be a situation where it has caused severe psychological harm to an individual. The key issue to determining whether conduct is unwelcome is based on the context, the frequency, and/or the severity, as well as the reasonable person standard. The context of a statement, for example, is someone making a statement about a dress or appearance made in conjunction with offensive or suggestive gestures. However, without the gestures, the same statement could be considered a compliment. A completely appropriate statement that someone may consider as a compliment is, "That shirt looks nice on you. It's a good color for you." However, if that same statement was such as, "That shirt is sexy looking on you," that could be offensive. Additionally, the more severe the conduct, the less frequently it must occur. For example, touching someone in an inappropriate place on the body would be a one occurrence situation. When talking about the reasonable person standard, the court views this as a determining factor for a hostile environment as well. In other words, would a reasonable person view the conduct as severe or pervasive enough that it could be workplace harassment? As previously stated, an employer is always liable if the conduct is a tangible employment action that is involving a supervisor. But with a hostile work environment, the employer is liable if they knew or should have known of the harassment and failed to take immediate and appropriate action. For example, if the supervisor receives a discriminatory chain letter through email from an employee, then it is assumed that they should have known it was being distributed among employees. If the victim complains to a supervisor, the conduct occurred in the presence of the supervisor, or the conduct is widespread or reoccurring. There are appropriate preventive actions that Iredell County takes as an effort to prevent workplace harassment. Iredell County has an adopted harassment policy, which can be located in the personnel ordinance. The internal complaint procedures are very broad. Whenever there is potential workplace harassment, there is no chain of command. The victim should report the complaint to anyone in management at any level of management that they feel comfortable talking with. There will be no discipline for failing to follow the chain of command when there is a workplace harassment issue at hand. The other action that is taken is that the enforcement of the anti-harassment policy is closely monitored by management. The anti-harassment policy includes items that you see listed on the slide. To elaborate on confidentiality just a little, please be aware that management will take every action possible to ensure that the complaint and the investigation is confidential. However, management can only ensure confidentiality to the extent possible. Information will be shared only with those who need to know. If a complainant requests that no action be taken regarding alleged harassment, management will not be able to honor this request because we have a duty to prevent and correct harassment. Management will take appropriate actions in the event of a workplace harassment issue. The harassment will be stopped immediately and an investigation will begin immediately. The victim will also be protected against any potential retaliation for filing the harassment complaint. Corrective actions to the harasser may be any of the following that you see listed. They may receive an oral or a written warning. They may be transferred or reassigned. They may be demoted, suspended, or terminated. We may require training or counseling to that harasser, and we will monitor the harasser to ensure that workplace harassment does not continue. This slide represents examples of what management may do in the event a victim has received any tangible employment actions as a result of the workplace harassment. Employees should exercise reasonable care by taking advantage of any preventive or corrective opportunities and take advantage of the employer's complaint process. If you become a victim of harassment, use the tips listed on this slide to assist you in handling the situation with care. If you are uncomfortable being direct with the harasser and letting them know the conduct is unwelcome, that's okay. Just report it to management and it will be addressed immediately. Harassment not only affects the victims, but it also affects the workplace in several ways, such as high legal costs and fines, damages to the organization's image. It reduces productivity and lowers morale. Employers experience higher turnover, which results in higher costs for hiring and training new employees. But most importantly, it is against the law. This is the end of the workplace harassment training. For additional information, you may contact the EEOC Direct as shown on the slide, or you may contact your department head or human resources. Thank you very much.